You're listening to the RMPodcast, the official podcast of Red Moon Productions. Here are your hosts, Brandon Davidson, Keith Cheatham, and Sean Sebastian. Enjoy.
To our Will Smith Chris Rock after party. They'll be here. They'll be live right here on the Red Moon Podcast, coming to you every Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Well, we're live. They're not. Okay, so I'm one of your hosts, Brandon Davidson, alongside our normal new host,
Sean Sebastian.
And he's not going to say.
I don't know who I am.
You are who you are. That's all that matters. And coming in from our Boston campus, he flew in just for this episode because it's so massive. We got to talk about it.
Isn't.
And just who is that? Nino Singleton.
Boston.
Coming through us from Boston.
From Boston.
That's right.
Actually, technically, Medford.
Medford?
Medford?
What is
Medford?
Oh, I thought it was, wait.
Medford?
Where was it that we went to that you all lived before? Where was the apartment at? Somerville. That's what.
Somerville.
Somerville.
He's not there anymore.
Somerville.
I know. I just thought
Somerville.
he was. Is that the Boston way of saying it?
Probably not. That's my butchered attempt at saying it that way.
We have some leftovers to partake. And of course, we talked about it last week. We are on our final beer that we have been tasting throughout.
And we're going to try different weeds next, right?
Yeah.
We're going to try different weed.
Different cannabis.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah.
And then after that, we can move on to crack cocaine.
Yeah.
No, don't skip mushrooms.
Oh no, he's right. We got to do shrooms.
Yeah, I was gonna say you got to pace
Graduate.
yourself.
Yeah.
You got to pace
I was
yourself.
getting overexcited.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can't
Working
bet
our
managers.
Way, working our way to
Told you
AA.
time and time again, you can't bet managers. Alrighty, let's take a sip. This is the what is it? The recreational.
I like it.
I like it.
I do
This is
too.
a down south.
Yeah.
Oh
I'm sorry.
yeah, you got the leftover bad.
You got the crap beer.
I came down south, so I had to drink
How do you feel about
down
it?
south.
Is it though? Is Kentucky the South?
It's the
It's the
northern-
South to you.
We're the northernmost southern state.
the northernmost Southern.
yeah.
Hey, we are
That's what we're
right on the
considered.
Mason-Dixon.
Yep.
Okay,
Right on that line.
that's right. Divided, but still together. I was gonna say our state motto, and I totally butchered it.
Divided we stand.
I was gonna
That's
go
where
there.
he was going. Divided we stand.
Divided but still together.
Together we fall.
I sound like Optimus Prime or something.
Divided we
Alrighty, we do have a packed show.
Together
We are very happy. Thank
Did
you,
something
Neil.
happen this week?
Oh no, not
loud.
I mean, I know I'm here.
well. You
So-
are safely. You flew in to visit all our family and friends.
All of your families.
All
yep.
of our families. He's making his rounds, peeps. Open
Yep.
your houses.
Watch out.
Open your houses.
I'm coming.
Open your houses. Neil's coming.
He's coming to deliver presents.
Here comes Neil.
Hi, Megan.
Here comes Neil.
You better be watching.
Oh, that was a good
Sneaking
shout
in
out.
your home.
Needed to shout out to
Melissa
Oh.
Burris is watching.
Hey,
Get it,
Melissa. Thank you for joining.
Nice.
Adam Burris.
Nice.
We are going to have such a packed show. Obviously,
Such
we're
a
going to be
pack.
talking about the slap heard around the world. I know you're probably tired of it. Everybody's
I'm
probably
not
sick
tired
of it.
yet.
But there's just been memes aplenty.
That's it.
I mean, there's
The-
even a rap song now.
That's it.
on TikTok.
The
It's
internet-
fantastic.
Some memes I feel like I do get tired of pretty quick because it's just the same. Like the Bernie Sanders mitten memes. Like there's only so
Yes.
many places you can Photoshop him.
Yeah.
That's all they do is they Photoshop him somewhere else. They're getting creative with these memes. Like every time I think I've seen them all, I'm like, oh crap, that's something completely different.
Well,
Right?
again,
So-
it's like it's
Yeah.
funny because we're going to give you all of our opinions on what we thought was handled poorly versus what was. Well, there really was nothing.
Well, we
about
know
it that
Chris
was
Rock's
handled
face
right.
was handled poorly.
The whole show was handled poorly.
True.
Yeah.
So-
We're going to talk about the Oscars themselves too, not
Yeah.
just the slap. But
Of course, we
Don't-
got to go
don't-
through the winners and losers.
Don't forget Nipplegate.
Yeah.
That was another part of the night. That was after. That was post the slap.
Yeah,
I mean-
we totally missed that.
Oh, no,
too.
there was no. I mean, we caught it.
You did?
Did
Keith
we?
caught it.
I was the one that's, like I said, it's like, oh, she probably had. Well, I don't think it showed anything on screen,
Right.
But I said, like, when we were watching, I was like, oh, she probably had her boob fall out.
Yeah.
So
it was shown because they have screenshots of it.
Wardrobe malfunction.
yeah.
Oh, well,
you
we
can
know
see
that
it.
you've done some investigative
I have
reporting.
seen the black
but
one
that's
with
not the
deep
only
web.
controversy. Once again, there's controversy around the memorial, and I agree this time. Like, they really, I think,
left
screwed the pooch.
Saget out of
Not just the Bob Saget, Norm Macdonald, Robert Downey Sr., Ed Asner, they left all of them out.
Wow.
I'm like, those are some big names.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's awful. We're gonna give you our rating and whether or not it's coming back around next year. Hint, it's not. Okay, guys, but before we get to any of that, we've got to get into our review. We're gonna get that out of the way, so that we can talk about the Oscars and everything that were. Let's dive right in. Here is our review of The Adam Project.
Ryan Reynolds has always been a fan favorite, but it's safe to say his popularity hit its apex with the release of Deadpool. And while Reynolds has never had a massive library of varied roles character-wise, some variety did exist. Since Deadpool, he has leaned into the smart-mouthed, witty, and irreverent tropes he's best known for. Whether it's voicing Pikachu or portraying a self-aware AI in Free Guy, Reynolds' brand of comedy has struck a chord with audiences. Now he reteams with director Sean Levy, whom he worked with on Free Guy, for the Netflix original film, The Adam Project. A story of time travel, Reynolds plays Adam Reed, a pilot from the year 2050, where time travel exists. Adam, in an attempt to jump to the year 2018 to save someone important, accidentally runs into his 12-year-old self, played by Walker Scobell. 12-year-old Adam is raised by his widowed mother, played by Jennifer Garner, has asthma, and is bullied, a far cry from the physically fit time traveler he becomes. The two strike up an awkward self-friendship as future Adam repairs his ship. However, Adam's true reason for time traveling are eventually revealed, and the two together hop across time to save the future and their family. The Adam Project is a nice, heartwarming film with very little frills outside of its time travel premise. Reynolds is Reynolds and is entertaining. He's funny and exactly what you expect to see from him. Again, there's not much variety to the personas Reynolds has recently taken on. This isn't a bad thing, but it's still Ryan Reynolds basically playing Ryan Reynolds. But now he's a time traveler. Walker Scobell, as a younger version of Reynolds, does nail some of the dialogue delivery, and suffices for the film. But outside of dialogue written to obviously sound like a wisecracking Reynolds, Scobell just doesn't sell me on the fact that he's a 12-year-old Ryan Reynolds. Supporting casts such as Jennifer Garner and even Mark Ruffalo, who plays Adam's late father, also serve the roles well, but still don't offer anything not seen outside of a stereotypical sci-fi family film. In fact, despite some Reynolds-esque dialogue and language that skews the film as a family film with slightly older audiences in mind, the movie is basically just that, a stereotypical family film. With comparisons from cast and crew to Back to the Future, the movie definitely sets out to be an enjoyable romp for general viewers, and it definitely is. But it's a far cry from such classics as Back to the Future. The movie is funny and the plot simple enough. Despite a plot around time travel, which has caused even the best writers in movies to descend into convoluted messes, I found the Adam Project's oversimplification of its time travel rules refreshing. It's easy to go down the rabbit hole with such a concept, and knowing that the exact science doesn't matter to the plot, I appreciate the film not trying to overly jargon the audience into submission. This laissez-faire attitude, however, extends to most of the film, including emotional scenes that are all fair with a few good heartwarming scenes, but nothing that will cement the film as a timeless family classic. The Adam Project will appeal to most people, especially families looking for something to stream together for a night. It's fun, funny, and hits all the feel-good moments, but doesn't offer much in the way of wow factor. I give The Adam Project 2.5 out of 4 stars.
2.5 out of 4 stars for The Adam Project.
I love documentaries. Such a great documentary.
About time travel?
Yeah.
I had time travel once in my pants.
How'd that go?
Yeah. Did it ever come back?
I want to hear the story. I don't know.
I don't know. It just sounded like a fun thing to say at the time.
88 miles per hour.
It's like
1.21 gigawatts.
it's like the gas I passed was actually from like 12 years ago. I've just been holding it that long.
Wow. It was like
That's what I smelled earlier.
an ass capsule. Time capsule.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something you don't want to open and
Flatulence
unleash.
capsule.
There you go.
Capsule? What did I just say?
So I'm gonna. I don't know if he'll
Well,
do it.
hold on real quick.
I don't know if he'll do it, but for those watching, like I was looking for my phone during the review, and I'm pretty sure I left it at Brian's. So I texted him with my watch, and he's like, "I can bring it over if you want." Now I kind of want to be like, "Yeah, come on the show." Real
Tell
quick.
him. Tell him he can
He won't,
step in and
you
say
know,
hi at
just
least.
Swing it. It's like, come
Why
on,
not?
Brian.
Is the back door
Poke in
unlocked?
on us.
I don't know. I didn't lock it,
Yeah.
so it may be.
I didn't lock it.
I don't know.
Sean was last
We'd
one.
be
It's
getting
open.
robbed right now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
somebody
I
just
didn't
come
even
and
know
kill us all. I thought it was.
Hey,
an
we've
okay
had
movie.
pizzas delivered on the show. We've had a Cheez-It
Right.
pizza delivered. It
All
was
of our
great.
guns are in the other room, so
Well, and then
we're screwed.
we'll definitely know if somebody enters. well, at least our live audience will know real quick. All right, before we talk about this movie, we didn't describe our last beer and what we thought. It's the the Recreation Ale. is what it's
Recreation
called?
Ale.
Ale.
Yeah, it does say Recreation Ale.
Okay, it's a play on words.
It is a
Everybody
play on
gets
words.
it. So what do we think of it?
I like it.
I like it.
That's it?
Yep.
Great. Okay, citrusy flavor.
I'm honestly still
It's
going to
actually
say
a light. It's only 99 calories.
That's
Um,
not bad.
not the session, the other one we had that we were like, is still my favorite.
Down south.
No, not down south.
Boone Creek.
Note to note, Neil threw that out during the
I did.
review.
The other fruity one.
Yeah, I can't think of its
I
name.
just can't think of the name of it either.
But it was my favorite.
That I agree.
I know what you're talking about. Not the Terrapin Luau,
Yes.
is it? Is
Yeah,
that
yes,
it?
Terrapin
yeah.
Luau.
The luau I liked, then probably this, and then the session.
Session.
Yeah.
Yeah, the session
Saison.
was easily the middle of the pack, but again, it's what it was for. Just a casual drink.
Well, yeah.
It was good.
Yeah.
All right,
Kind of
let's-
like this movie.
Yeah.
Middle of the pack.
There you go. Beautiful transition. Let's talk about the Adam Project. 2.5 out of 4
Yeah, no,
stars.
I mean, I liked it for what it was. Like, I don't think it's a bad movie. I just, again, it's like a lot of the things we've watched recently wasn't anything I hadn't seen before. I know Netflix and some of the people that worked on it, like, talked it up as, like, this next Back to the Future, which it's not.
No.
It's nowhere near as classic. The emotion, like I said, my favorite scene in the movie that had all the emotion from the whole movie was the bar scene between Ryan Reynolds and his mom. And that one I thought was really good. Everything after that was okay, and Mark Ruffalo was terrible.
Yeah.
I
It's kind of
agree.
funny because that's early on in the film, too.
Yes.
So you have this big emotional moment kind of close to the beginning of the film.
And I
then the
thought
rest
this
of
movie's
it,
going to be freaking amazing.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then the rest of it after that, I was like, oh, okay, it's fine. Like, I mean, it's not bad, but, and I say Mark Ruffalo is terrible. He serves his purpose in the movie fine enough. Like, it's not like he's just like atrocious, but the emotional scenes he was pretty bad. Like, I mean, you made fun of the one line where he's like, is this time travel?
Yeah, it was so poorly delivered. And again, I'm like, wouldn't you think of something else to say?
Yeah.
You're a physicist.
I thought
and
the
all you can come up
scene-
with is this time travel.
Spoiler alert, I
What?
guess the scene at the end with the bullet, like the armor piercing rounds or whatever, and he explains that. He's like, sometimes science pays off. That was terrible.
That was terrible, too.
He's like, sometimes science pays off. And I was like, this is bad.
Well, again, it was like they took little jabs
Yeah.
here and there of just certain political nothing you wouldn't expect in any modern movie. But again, it's always just an eye roll moment that when they come across, you're just kind of like, did we really even have to throw that out there? Did we have to get that point across? Because it doesn't serve the plot. But overall, I fell in the same category, 2.5 out of 4. I was actually settled on 2. Oh, I think Brian's
I think
here.
we have a guest.
Edie has marked his presence.
Is he in the studio? Come on back, buddy.
Brian, are you in here? Or are you just trying to take my stuff?
There he is. Come say hi.
It's on the wide shot. At least wave.
you can wave at the people.
Brian has never made an appearance on this
We
show.
want Brian. Yeah. I really appreciate you, sir.
Do you have any words for what happened between the slap?
you.
Were you watching?
I do.
You got to step in. We can't hear you.
I do, but it's not safe for TV.
Bri-
Bad
Are you Team Smith or Team Rock?
yeah. Which one are you?
Put my money on the Rock.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll
Rock it
put
is.
my money
not
on.
the Rock.
I'm glad
There's a
that- I'm
difference.
glad there was an apology that was made, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
unfortunate events.
Yeah.
Well, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. Thank you, Brian,
I appreciate you
for the special delivery.
You're a true friend. You're better than most of the people in this room.
I wouldn't have delivered it to you.
I know you wouldn't have.
Next time, you got to actually, stay for the whole show.
Hey, Brian, grab a beer out of the fridge. You deserve that at least.
No.
He can't do that.
Why?
Can't do that.
You always
I always do that.
You always forget.
They're so.
Brandon, see, that's why he's the worst friend.
Hey, I got Cheez-Its. You can have those.
I drank enough for y'all's lifetime.
Take the box of Cheez-Its.
Or the Doritos.
Bye, fellas.
All right, man.
See ya,
Thanks,
Brian. Thank you for stopping by. He's like the mailman on one of those kids shows.
Postman.
The postman.
He's,
Whatever.
Postman.
He's wow, I'm drawing a blank. Help me, Sean.
I always think
Lawrence
of,
Fishburne.
I always think of
Pee-wee's
Yeah,
Playhouse.
Yeah, he's
No,
Lawrence
no.
Fishburne. No, Kevin
would-
Costner. Thank you.
No, I was thinking he's the guy on the other side of the fence in
Mr.
Home
Wilson?
Improvement. Yeah,
Mr. Wilson.
Yeah, he's that guy.
It's just funny because his fence
Pops in and gives that wisdom.
Sagely
see right through
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's continue talking about the Ada Project. Neil,
Have
what'd you
seen it?
give it?
4 out of 4. Like I said, I love documentaries. Can't wait to see it again.
We don't have too many about time travel.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
time traveled to the future to actually watch it because I didn't watch it before this.
Yeah.
You know, all of the and that was another thing that irked me a little bit. Going back to like things we haven't seen before, all of the action sequences and designs and stuff gave me like Guardians of the Galaxy vibes. Like everything had like a pop older pop song attached to it.
Yeah.
The ships themselves looked like something from either Avengers or like the Nova Corps or the Ravagers in Guardians of the Galaxy. I was
They're
like,
borrowed.
yeah,
They had
like
lightsabers in the movie.
yeah,
too.
yeah,
Yeah.
And I mean, I know they kind of made fun of that too. Like, it's not a lightsaber. Like, they were making fun of the fact that it's basically a rip off that. But some of it was
Yeah.
just a little too on the nose. I was like, this isn't a riff. This is just
Well, honestly, from
kinda
the
lazy
very
design work.
opening scene,
Yeah.
I felt that way. I wasn't disinterested, but I just felt, okay, I know what kind of movie this is going to be.
Yeah.
It's just going to be very average and ultimately, like, again, Ryan Reynolds in every movie you've seen him in.
Yeah.
You know? But, Sean, what about you? You settled on 2?
I gave it 2. Yeah, I actually, and I don't know. You seem to, I don't know. I seem to have liked it more than you, but I gave it a lower rating, which is kind of funny.
Oh, no,
But
I liked it. I am
I
picking
settled
on all
right
of
there
them.
in the
Yeah.
middle, and that's we've talked about it too. It's not a bad thing. There's things that it does right. There's things that it does wrong. There's not a whole lot that I thought was real funny about it. A lot of the jokes and punchlines kind of fell flat for me. The only thing that really saved it were the very few emotional moments that actually worked.
Yeah.
I really liked the relationship with Zoe Saldana. I thought that was very nice. I liked the scene where they're on the kind of like the gravel beach, and they're and I don't want to give too much away of the plot of the story, but they have a moment after not seeing each other, and I thought that was very well
I like
done.
how it
It was
ties up in the
believable.
end,
It was
too.
very believable that they
Agreed.
had been apart for a long time, and
Like I said, I love
Yeah.
how their ending too, like how they wrapped that up.
Yes.
With like, I thought that was really well done. Yeah, I do. I mean, it is funny because I am harping on the negatives, but I mean, I did give it 2.5 because I do think as a like a science fiction, like a kind of a family film for like a little bit older audiences, not necessarily younger kids because of the language, but like something like around pirates. Like I think
Oh,
like
yeah.
I think it's fine for that. I
It's
just
fun.
I just wish that they had given it a little bit more depth in certain areas, especially when the whole plot is focused on kind of like healing this relationship with his father. But then I think the stuff with the mother was important and the stuff with the wife made sense, but it's because like I feel like they were trying to balance too much, and then the crux with the father falls through. It doesn't land the way the mom and the wife does.
when you get that moment
Yeah.
at the end with the father and both other characters,
Yeah.
it's very fast. It's like okay, I did love you. I've always loved you. It's everything's real
And they
fast.
try to make it comedic too,
Yes.
and I hated
No.
that. I was like, he's sitting there, he's like, no, you're not listening, no, and I know they're trying to make it funny.
I don't know.
and
I don't know.
sweet.
I here's the thing. I thought that was intentional. I don't think they tried to draw humor. I think it was just poorly directed because I thought it was very much trying to be, I think, reminiscent of a father and a son awkward moment of this. I'm having to tell you that I love you and that, you know, I know this will be the last time we talk.
Yeah.
But I want you to know I'm proud of you. And it was supposed to be, I saw it as kind of a rushed Goodwill Hunting moment between, you know, Robin Williams and Matt
Yeah,
Damon,
yeah.
and that, you know, how there's that slow build out of, you don't understand, Will, it's not your fault.
Yes.
But it slowly crescendos. And I felt like this one could have ended with the fast paced awkwardness between the two to establish this, overcoming of a relationship that they really never got to experience.
But it comes off almost goofy to me.
Yeah.
No, it did, and I think that was part and parcel the failure of the direction, because I think ultimately it played out the way he expected it to, but I just think it was a miss because we didn't build up into that awkwardness. We didn't see that enough throughout the film in their characters or in their relationship, and ultimately in that scene we didn't see it, start out slow and then build to that. It was just like, boom, we're right in the thick of this. We got to have this huge emotional speech. We're in it, and before you know it, it's over, and you're like, okay, that was a little fast.
Yeah.
But then the opposite with the younger Adam and his mom, I was like, oh, this is actually very well done.
I like their ending. Yeah, I agree. The end with him and Jennifer Garner I thought was very sweet. Most of her scenes I thought were fine. The only scene I didn't like her in was the scene with her and Mark Ruffalo again. It just none of the stuff with him I felt worked. But yeah, I liked that stuff.
Poor Mark.
Yeah, well, and he's not a bad actor, but he was in this.
I mean, this is what you get after 13 going on 30.
Yeah.
They're married and they are time traveling physicists.
Yeah. But I mean, I appreciate that they kept the science simple. They didn't try to overly jargon it to where it's like they kept it to where it's like, listen, this is all that matters for the plot, and that's all we're going into. I like that.
It's just funny you mentioned the directing. This was directed by the same guy that directed
Levy.
Free Guy.
I was going to say.
And it's like the directing in that was
spot on.
I told Brandon, I think part of the difference here, because this was actually, it's not a movie he wrote or did from the ground up. It was already in development hell for a while. Tom Cruise was actually attached to it when it was going to be a little bit more serious.
Wow.
And that fell through. So then Netflix got it, and then I think they approached Sean Levy and Ryan Reynolds. Yeah. Well, I was thinking it's like probably Edge of Tomorrow, and they were like, oh, we'll get Tom Cruise to do this time traveling movie. Yeah, but
he's done time travel.
Yeah,
Oblivion.
That works.
I mean, gosh.
but I think it's one of those things where with Free Guy, which he I think had more of a creative hand in, you could see the attention to detail and the love for video games. So all of that comes through. With this, I think it's more of he got the script and he's like, oh, I could do something humorous with this, and maybe he didn't put as much detail into it as he did with Free Guy.
I also think too the structure of the relationships, the dependency on having to tell both the story of the younger Adam with his mom and the older Adam with his dad. I think the dividing line there was you in the amount of time, and granted it's an hour and 46 minutes. It's not short by any means.
No. But
because the story is disjointed by telling both of those tales, you don't really get to come full circle for both of those relationships. No. The one part other than the mom and the older Adam at the bar that connected with me was the part where the younger Adam and the older Adam are talking outside the motel room.
Oh, yeah.
And he's kind of helping the older Adam cope.
Yeah.
And it's like, again, it's funny because I did like that idea of when you get older, there's certain things that you do forget about from your childhood.
Yes, and I
that your
actually
childhood
like that.
could remember, or be part of in that moment and make you remember.
Yep.
And I thought that was very clever and well done. Yeah. I wish, again, it could have been a lot more of that. But then at that point, you're talking about 3 different threads of this one person and the family storyline, and it's like, again, there's so many different narratives that you could shoot, and go off from. But the problem is when you start focusing on all of them at once in one movie that is this short, you just don't have the time to have the emotional payoff.
So was it a length issue? Like if it was a longer movie, would they have done a better job? Was
I'm kind of glad it wasn't the full 2 hours.
Yeah.
I liked that's one of the things like with some of the films that Netflix has been putting out is they are well timed in terms of the length of the film. I can't remember how long Red Notice was, but that was another movie that I felt like didn't go on real long. It gives you the fun, it gives you the action and the humor, and it gives it to you in the right amount of time so that you're not bored. But I don't know. I liked the length of this movie. It could have been 10 minutes shorter. In my opinion.
I think the length isn't so much of the problem as maybe
it's what they focus on.
Or just like maybe the plot's so convoluted that they just needed more time to flesh it out, or just
pick. I think a more central plot point that needed to be the focal point.
Honestly, if it were me, because you didn't really like the whole idea of him coming back to find the specific person he was coming back for, and then they tried to tie in this whole not only is it this emotional story with him and his wife, mom, and dad, but then you tie it into the main villain of the piece that was kind of this betrayal that was a family friend, and I think she was a very bland villain. They could have dropped her entirely.
The CGI of her young was terrible.
You didn't need an antagonist like that because basically she's made the future evil. He's he compares it to Terminator, so like they're also trying to change that. I was like, I don't think they needed any of that. They could have just done the emotional connection of him trying to save like the person and made the conflict the trying to stop this in the past more so than trying to stop this villain. And it might, but then again, they also wanted a reason to have the action pieces, and without a villain,
exactly, and that's where it felt disjointed. Was when you threw the action in there, it was cool spectacle, but again, against the backdrop of what are the stakes here? And to me, if the stakes were more on the emotional side effects of, I'm going back to save this one person, but in the midst of doing that, I also find this other greater connection I really wasn't searching for.
Or even if you need to have like some of the fight pieces, you could have done something as simple as, well, these people are just coming back in time to stop him from changing the past because that's taboo, and they've left it at that. You didn't have to have a more in-depth, they're just trying to stop him from doing whatever, and he's just trying to deal with that while saving his family. And
Keith, it's like
you should have just wrote the movie.
I was say it's like you're a writer or something. It's crazy.
I just wanted more of the family depth because those were the good parts, and I was like, I want more of this. I did really like the first action set piece when the villains first show up and Zoe Saldana first shows up. I thought that was all really good, but the final bit, like all of that, I thought was just kind of
True. That's kind of when it fell apart. All right, guys, there it is.
Let's move on.
2.5 out of 4 stars. Our official review.
0.5
of. That's right.
The Adam
Project. Check it out if you got a Netflix subscription. But I think it's time that we move into our headlines.
Yeah, we got some good ones.
So let's roll that headline open. That's right. We've teased it enough and for long enough. I think we're ready to dive right into the moment. We're going to talk about the winners and the losers a little bit later.
We're going to talk
but we've
about
already,
the Oscars
I mean, come
in
on.
whole,
Everybody
but
wants to talk about it, whether you're tired or not of it. Let's get it out of the open. Let's get it out of the way.
They know,
We know about the slap. Everybody, but we're going to refresh everybody's memories.
The slapped butt? What?
The
slapped butt. Okay.
The slapped butt.
That would have been better.
Yeah, I guess.
It would have been.
Well, it depends on whose butt was getting slapped.
I mean, if Will Smith went over and just smacked Chris Rock's butt, that would have been entertaining.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I would have been okay with that.
I would have been. I think everybody would have been okay with that.
I think that would have gotten the actual audience reaction he was hoping for his first major Oscar win. All right, let's go ahead and let's remind all of our listeners of what happened that night. Here is a replay of
watch it.
The slap.
The hardest job tonight, Javier Bardem and his wife are both nominated. Now, if she loses, he can't win. He is praying that Will Smith wins. Like, please, Lord. Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right? That was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Richard.
JJ, what am I doing here? Okay, why can't I remember?
Why did you do that? Oh, it's so sad.
Best celebrity cameo.
We just, that was perfect. Some people can emote in their own way, and there's nothing better than getting the reaction of Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks' first movie role.
He was learning.
I'm just saying. Look, no, he expresses the emotions we all had when we saw that slap and watched it over and over and over again.
He was, though. It is fun because when he first tells the joke, Will Smith is laughing. Yeah,
he is.
Yeah.
And honestly, I've got the full clip. We're going to go ahead and play the full clip. It is. I just want to let everybody know it's an edited version, meaning the
none of the language.
No language throughout. It's the audio's dipped down.
Yeah.
We do have a link to the explicit version in our description below. Obviously, we're a little PG-13 rated.
If you want to hear the parts that are cut out, you can click on the link.
But here is the actual full version of what happened.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right?
Well, he even claps. He's like,
that was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Richard. Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
Wow, dude.
Yes.
It was a G.I. Jane jump.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
I'm going to, okay? Okay. That was a greatest night in the history of television. Okay.
So there is the full clip of what went down.
I give it to Chris Rock for keeping his
know.
quiet.
I think you could tell right
yeah.
there. He
Oh, yeah,
was
but he's
on
like,
the
I
verge.
could, and he stopped
Yep.
himself, and he's like, no.
I think he had he wanted to unleash at that moment.
Yep.
But he kept it together. Again, a stronger man for keeping it together in that moment. But let's go around. Let's talk about what happened. I'd first, I guess, like to ask about your all's reaction, I guess, because we were all here.
We were all watching.
Neil's been in town since last Saturday, and he joined us for our Oscar shindig. It's great to have you, by the way.
Yeah.
Thanks for hosting.
Hey, I was glad to host.
I mean, honestly,
I
at first
enjoyed.
we all thought it was fake. Like we thought it was staged. It wasn't
Right.
until they were bleeping out like their language, and we saw him like sit down and yelling and screaming that we were like, oh no,
This is for real.
This is for
Yeah.
real. Will
Yeah.
Smith's pissed.
Yeah.
Well, and I think too, it was more of a it was kind of this visceral, like, did that just happen?
Yeah.
Well, and it was just literally the commercial break right before this that Keith had said, "This is the most boring Oscars.
It was the
This is the worst
It's
Oscars."
like, I was like,
They
this,
heard
this
him
year was
say that.
terrible, and then Will Smith's like, well, I'll fix this for you.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like the devil was speaking through you, Keith, because he'd get you in your
when
worst
you're-
moments.
when you're at your highest moment, that's when
Oh
the
my
devil
God.
comes for you.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that too here. My first reaction was honestly, it was jaw dropping because I was like, at first, I kept trying to figure out. It's got to be more than this just joke. Like, it's got to be more than this joke that led him to do this.
Yeah.
There's got to be something else behind the fact that he walked up there and just
Well,
slapped Chris
he
Rock.
even said like they've been the subject of jokes and ridicule for years now. But I mean, a lot of that is on them. Like not just that she does have alopecia, which a lot of people none of us knew at the time. A lot of people didn't, but apparently she has been vocal about it in interviews and on her whatever show she has. But I don't follow her. I don't watch her. I don't like her, honestly.
I don't either.
So it's one of those things where I'm like, I don't watch things with her, so I didn't know she had alopecia. And I've heard, I don't know if it's true or not, but I've heard that Chris Rock didn't know.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's like, even if he did know, it's a joke. Yeah, maybe it's in poor taste. You could say it's in poor taste and confront the producers after the show and say, hey, I didn't appreciate what Chris Rock said because she has, alopecia. But instead of handling it like a mature adult to walk up there and slap him
He
like
literally
that.
handled it.
Yeah, that's childish. And I mean,
Very
we
childish.
watched, he was laughing at first, and then she rolls her eyes. And I know a lot of people are saying, oh, she told him to do it. I can't say that. We don't know. We didn't see.
No.
But at some point, we do know that he realized either the joke, what it meant, or he realized it hurt her feelings, and he said, well, I'm not going to have this. I'm tired of us being ridiculed. Because not even 10, 15 minutes earlier, Regina Hall made a joke about their marriage.
Yeah.
And I think that's really the root of it. He's tired of, they have all these jokes about the marriage, and he's like, well, you know what? I got to show her that I can take care of her and slap the crap out of Chris Rock.
I think you're hitting the nail on the head. I think what it really alludes to, or what it's pride, it's narcissism, in the fact that this is how you're handling an issue that you haven't dealt with in your own personal life. And I think what it amounts to ultimately is him conveying his emotions through obviously physical violence for something he hasn't personally taken on himself. And especially after even something like that. But that's kind of where I think everybody is drawing their ire from. And you had a bunch of people who were quick to say, well, Chris Rock shouldn't have made that joke. Okay, first off, he's a comedian. He's never been a comedian that hasn't not touched on taboo subjects.
Right.
Comedians have said way worse.
Way worse.
Way worse.
And they're not known for staying in their lane. That's part of what makes them, again, we all applauded Ricky Gervais for coming out at the Golden Globes 2-3 years ago and lambasting the entire room full of people simply because he was speaking to their face instead of behind their back and saying what a lot of people wish they could say to Hollywood A-listers. And it's this idea of these elitist, privileged a-holes in this room that want to get up there and virtue signal about every given cause on the planet and tell us about moral responsibility, and then yet in a perfect encapsulation of why we shouldn't listen to them or look to them for as role models. That was it. That summed it up. Because even in their most emotional states, when they get into these roles and they feel like they're stepping into the shoes of other people that they need to walk a mile in their shoes, the problem is you're not actually living their hard lives. You get to take that costume off at the end of the day, walk back into your elitist privileged lifestyle, and you get to bask in everything that is the riches and the fame and the glory. And I'm sorry, but that makes you a public figure. And the moment you're a public figure, you are subject to those very jokes that can be made about you. Was it in poor taste? Absolutely it was. But again, what do I expect from not only any, Chris Rock, but any comedian? And ultimately, anybody in that room should not be afraid to have the target on their back.
Yep.
Because
that
of the
was-
lifestyle.
Yeah,
they
that
have.
was my opinion. Just like you're talking about a room full of just incredibly famous people. Like I told Megan, like if Megan knows Chris Rock and Will Smith, and she doesn't know a lot of people in that room, like these are incredibly famous people.
Yep.
Everybody knows who they are, and you're right. On that level, people are going to talk about you, and I get that it's not the internet, and you can't really respond on the internet physically, and now it's like right in front of your face. But there are millions of people watching this. 50% more than last year, I hear. But, like, there are a ton of people watching this, and, like, it might not be little kids or whatever, but you're still setting an example.
Yeah.
Everyone knows your name. And, like, yeah, there's definitely extra context to be had there. Chris Rock didn't, like, do his research, I guess, but it just doesn't matter. That should never merit that kind of response.
Exactly.
No, and then the other
100%.
thing that really surprised me was the reaction from the room. Because you can look at this crowd of people, and after this happened, not only were there people coming to console Will Smith instead of Chris Rock, which I don't know what happened backstage with Chris. That may have happened too. Like Keith's made a good point. We didn't see everything that happened.
I did read an article, and I'll mention it after you finish what you're saying.
But again, everybody in this room just sat there and made it okay for someone to walk on stage and slap the piss out of somebody. And nobody got up. Nobody tried to walk him out.
I think no one knew what to do.
I was going to say,
Rock
here's the
didn't
thing.
know what to get it,
I'll give them the benefit of the doubt in the sense that everybody, I think, was in utter shock.
Oh, no doubt.
But
no doubt.
you take what happened not 20 minutes later when he wins Best Oscar, or
That's
best Actor
yeah.
Oscar, and everybody gives him a standing ovation.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
that's
Jim Carrey
stupid.
even spoke on this today,
Yes.
and he came out and he said they're just spineless. Because again, how can you even speak on any platform about caring for any virtue at all or having any virtue when you won't even stand up and say what you did was wrong. You shouldn't even be here right
So,
now, whether
yeah.
you want or not.
Yeah. Well, him personally had the opportunity
To apologize,
Yes.
and he
6-minute
didn't.
opportunity to apologize. He apologizes to the Academy and to his other nominees, but he doesn't once mention Chris Rock, the guy that he just hit.
But he's
Instead,
spreading peace and
spreading
love,
peace
and
and
that's it.
love.
I
Well,
know.
they
I
had
thought
said-
that was
And
Yeah.
the other thing
The
that
article-
infuriated me is he's doing what God is leading him to do as a man, and I'm like,
Protect.
no,
Yeah,
that's exactly
ridiculous.
no.
What I had read though is that like the producers stated, I told Brandon this yesterday, that they did like after it happened confer with one another about what do we do? Do we need to remove him from the show? Which would have been appropriate. Instead, they decided to just let it slide, which was ridiculous. After the fact, they did say they took Chris Rock backstage. The producers talked to him, and the representative for the LAPD was there because they were talking to him about the incident and what had happened and whether he wanted to press charges or not. And of course, I mean, Chris Rock dropped everything, but apparently they did take him backstage and was like, "Hey, how do you want to proceed? How do we want to do this?" But ultimately, yeah. Whether Chris Rock wanted to press charges or not, and that's fine. That's his decision, and he's a stand-up guy, I think, that he was just like, it got out of hand, I don't care. But at the end of the day, the producers of the show should have said, well, we need to set an example and say this is not allowed. He needs to go. But instead, they were like, oh, he's expected
It was
to
all
win.
after the fact.
They knew he was expected to win. They didn't want to. They wanted to try to save face, and I think that's where the Academy is wrong. They're saying now that they're reviewing it and they're going to discuss consequences, and that's all fine and good. He has apologized on Instagram now, and I mean, I read the apology. It's nice, but it's like you had your moment to actually apologize,
Right.
And you said, "I'm sorry to the Academy and my fellow nominees." Never once mentioned Chris Rock. So it's at this point, it's like, okay, 24 hours later, are you apologizing because you mean it or because your publicist said you really need to put a direct apology to Chris Rock?
And here's the thing, especially after, a night of partying and having, excess fun after the fact that this just happened. But I will say, look, as far as Denzel and Tyler Perry coming to, put their arms around him or at least talk to him, step aside. Here's the thing: when this all went down, the day after, when all the memes started rolling in, because that's honestly the funniest thing about it is it's like whether you're on his side or not, the very action of him going outside those bounds and slapping Chris Rock led to just it causing way more spotlight on the wrong in that moment, and also
people
just
are making
amplified.
jokes twice as worse now.
Exactly, because of what happened.
He wants to say, "I'm tired of we being the butt of these jokes." It's like, okay, well, you've just made it
amplified
a million times worse. Yeah,
but ultimately too,
it's way worse now than
terrible.
It was. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, there's so many people making jokes about G.I. Jane and her being bald now. I was like, I'm sure it's twice as worse now.
Oh,
than
of course
it
it
was
is.
Before.
But ultimately, I have to say, I can sympathize and have compassion and forgiveness for Will Smith the man. I don't for Will Smith the celebrity. And in that moment, you are the role model people are looking towards, and you are somebody who exemplifies one of the Hollywood's A-listers, but also somebody who's been in this game long enough to know when you're poked, it's like you don't act in that manner, especially in that. In that way. I mean, I've seen I think Howard Stern mentioned it's preposterous about why wasn't there security to keep him from going up on stage? And I'm like, look, nobody is walking. I mean, they're all probably afraid of guns anyway. It's like nobody's carrying any weapons in that building.
Yeah.
Nobody's expecting
when you
these
see
celebrities.
an actor approach the stage, you think, oh, this is part of the show.
Right.
Because
Chris Rock
thought it was part of the
he
show.
was expecting him to come up there and just make a joke probably with them.
Because, I mean, you're not expecting another actor, a famous actor, to come up on stage and hit somebody. So you're like, oh, he's walking up
It's
the
not
stage.
like you could walk up and be like, we didn't know who did that.
I mean,
we didn't see him.
Why would security approach him? What are they going to do? Tackle him and find out? Oh, we tackled him for no reason, and then they have a lawsuit against them. It's
I totally do sympathize with the fact that I know Denzel came up to him and he did say the one thing in Will Smith's speech that I agreed with, and it's like, at your highest points, that's when the devil comes. And yes, it is a personal struggle at this point, and I think honestly. It was funny because another personality I listened to is Matt Walsh, and he didn't even talk about the slap. He specifically just went into the marriage between Will Smith and Jada, and ultimately why you can't have something like that that's sanctified and yet not have it cause problems. And ultimately, that's the genesis of where all of this has started. And he brought up a video of Jada's Round Table podcast, Red Table podcast.
That thing is sickening.
It's sickening because it's like Jada's sitting here openly telling Will Smith about her affair, and ultimately Will Smith's asking her personal questions. And it's like they're just having this open, honest dialogue, again, in public eyes, so that they can get the attention for it and the publicity for it. But then to say, oh, we'll see how forward we are, we can be open about this. And it's like, no, your lifestyle is abnormal because of the amount of fame and celebrity status you have. You're not like normal people, and you're not handling this properly or emotionally well because you're not normal. And you're acting like you're above it when you're not. This is exactly what happens.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, what's even funnier is, I think it was Entertainment Weekly, it might have been Variety, but I was reading an article that not even a week ago, she was interviewed about her hair and said, yeah, I know people talk about it and make jokes, but I've grown, accustomed to it. And at first it bothered me, but it doesn't bother me anymore. I love my bald head. And it's like, okay, that was not even a week ago, and now all of a sudden Chris Rock makes a joke and he gets slapped for it. So we're from that moment to like barely a week later, like what changed? And you could say, yeah, well, anybody's going to be sensitive. And it's like, yes. And I think it's admirable to defend your wife. I'm not saying it's not admirable to defend your wife, but there's appropriate ways to do so. And just because someone makes a joke on stage doesn't give you the right. I mean, so many other comedians have now come out and said, well, what are we supposed to do with our careers? Now we have to live in fear of because this sets the example that, if you don't like what they say, just walk up there and sock them.
That's right.
And now it's like, okay, how many other people are going to try to pull a Will Smith and be like, oh, well, I didn't like that. I'm going to come deck your lights out.
Well, I think there was one tweet that specifically mentioned, they said something along the lines of, we've now reached the point in society where words actually equal violence. And it's like, that's the epitome of, if you are on the side of Will Smith and saying that he did the right thing in protecting his wife. It's like, from what?
Well, and that's
I mean, again, you not only get lambasted in whatever articles and whatever magazines or tabloids that want to put out there, but again, you asked for this. You put yourself in the spotlight. You're going to be criticized, and you have to openly accept that, because at the end of the day, you're the one that has to take that on to say, I'm on a higher platform and I have to live above that to showcase that I deserve this platform.
Well, and it completely, not that the show was going well anyways, it was terrible, but I mean, everything that came after was overshadowed. Everybody who won, the people that won Best Documentary in that moment, they were completely overshadowed. Nobody listened to that speech. Nobody gave two thoughts about it because they were still reeling from this. They have this whole message all night long about Ukraine and the world needs peace, and then Will Smith comes up here and slaps the crap out of us. It's like, we need peace. It's like, okay, I guess we don't need peace that bad. Will Smith's over
even
slapping
in his
people.
Speech, even in his speech, he
and
went
love.
on about it, and it's like the hypocrisy of it, and it's like, are you thinking we forgot about what just happened?
Yeah.
Like, again, it's like this odd.
He had 15 minutes, 20 minutes to think about it.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
And he literally had a chance to lay out his case and actually
But
apologize.
that was actually
and
one of
be
the
heartfelt.
things that I read in an article about the producers during that commercial break. They did confer, and one of the things that they realized was that, yes, this award is coming, and it's only in about 25 to 30 minutes away, and they decided that they just didn't have enough time to literally plan an exit for him the proper way. So that they said time was against them, and that was one of the factors that went into the decision of not removing him.
Yeah.
They were like, we need to meet with other people. We need to go over our own rules and see if we can even do this. Like, it was ridiculous, the red tape, so to speak, that they were having to go
here's
through.
the thing.
And they said we don't have time.
I can understand on that perspective. I mean, you're talking about a huge live production, a national production. I do understand to a degree that there's multiple strings you can't pull at the last minute, but come on. At the end of the day, it's like, this is unprecedented. You have to handle it, and ultimately, I think that even if now that they're going to go through the process of whether or not he gets his Oscar taken away,
I don't think that'll
no, it's not going to happen.
We do have one viewer that makes a really good point.
Yeah, sure.
We have a viewer, Casey McIntyre, who just said,
ready to read.
"Yeah, I was going to say,
Go ahead.
what's upsetting is the movie that won Best Picture, Coda, was groundbreaking for the deaf community, and no one is talking about it because this is overshadowed.
Yeah,
and not only that, it is a groundbreaking movie. It was emotional, and it's also the first streaming movie to win an Oscar, which everybody
to win Best Picture.
Best Picture, not an Oscar. Yeah, you're right. But it's one of those things where everybody just 3 or 4 years ago was saying movies that air on streaming service should never be allowed to be nominated, and now one has won Best Picture, and nobody.
And it's completely overshadowed.
And then again, like with the deaf community, that's overshadowed. I mean, the Hollywood prides itself on being this open format to bring awareness to all these issues, and they allowed this to just
I think another thing that got overshadowed, especially even in his speech, was the very movie that he won the award for playing. Here's this family and this family's story, and that's what he's up there accepting the speech for. But the speech was more about his own issues and his own, emotional turmoil that he's in, and it completely overshadowed their story that he's up there for. And even you shared an article earlier about the actual
Richard himself.
Yeah, he's come out and had someone speak for him, and condemned the actions.
He said violence is not the answer,
right?
At
only
all.
in self-defense, and it's like you can't claim physical self-defense for words.
Yep.
It's the sticks and stones thing. It's like, come on, grow up.
Yep.
No, we learned this in kindergarten.
100%. And that's really the saddest thing is what you just brought up, and that's what we're about to kind of dive into apart from the slap. Is honestly, I really do believe the Oscars would have, if this event had never taken place, it would have come and gone and it would have completely flown under the radar.
Yeah.
You would have had a couple little stories. The true takeaway would have been Coda winning Best Picture and it being the first streaming movie to win Best Picture.
Yep.
However, it got completely overshadowed, and ultimately too, it's sad because I mean, really, we got the ratings in today.
Yeah.
The overall ratings were 50% better than last year, But last year's was the worst Oscars viewership history.
It's the second worst.
So this is the second worst.
They beat the COVID Oscars. It's like, ooh, big whoop. Nobody saw last year's movies. People barely saw this year's movies, but nobody. Yeah, last year's everybody expected to be terrible, and not barely.
Well, let's move into that discussion. We're done talking about the slap. You know our opinions.
slap.
I think you can get plenty of other opinions
Around
online.
the world.
Obviously, just like Casey did, and I think even Kristen left a comment on should there be consequences. We didn't really touch on that. I personally do believe that I don't know if he should lose the Oscar simply because the moment itself was disassociated from from the Oscar win itself. I do think they made the wrong call in not getting him out of the show. And he should have been. In fact, I think it would have been better had he won and not been given a platform to speak because of what he just did.
Yep.
I think that would have been a good consequence in the moment. They missed that opportunity. I think at this point, you almost have to say, you know what? It doesn't matter if you're nominated again. You won't be able to come back. I think that's, or at least if you're nominated again, you will miss that Oscar show, and if you do have a chance to win, you won't be able to speak.
Kind of a suspension.
There's got to be something along the lines of repercussions for what he did.
Make him take his banner down.
His banner.
That
What
was too
banner does
low.
he have?
He's talking about
U of L.
Oh, I hate you. Screw you. It's all right. The lady cards are bringing home a banner.
Yeah,
that's
I saw
right.
that one dropped the F-bomb on the news the other
Yes.
day.
Yeah, that was actually, we saw that the
On the
preview for that
Oscar,
during
yeah.
the Oscars.
Why they put that in?
I don't know.
It's like Will Smith smacking people, and the lady cards are dropping F-bombs. Who knows? It was a wild
The
Sunday
future is bright in America, peeps. All righty, guys, let's move on to
in America.
talking about the winners and the losers of the Oscars. Very briefly,
won?
anything you were surprised by? I mean, the list is online. You can go check it out.
Most of them weren't that surprising.
Yeah, let's talk about it in general.
Okay.
Like, were you happy with the outcome of a lot of the
in general,
winners?
most of them were not that surprising. No, I was happy. I mean, we picked. It is funny. I think when we finally tallied it up, Sean was the winner.
You sure?
Yeah,
Okay.
you were.
Yeah.
And a lot of that was because you had I think me and Brandon were like, they're not going to give Dune all of the technical awards, and you didn't give Dune all of them, but you did give them a lot of the ones that won, and I think that kind of gave you that boost up.
I was actually really surprised by that. There were quite a few. I thought Nightmare Alley was going to slip in one from cinematography.
I'm not surprised that Dune won. I just thought they would give Nightmare Alley something and give Don't Look Up something.
Right.
But they didn't, which I'm thankful for. Don't Look Up didn't deserve anything. But
I will say of the very few funny jokes throughout the evening, because we didn't even if there's one thing
they
that
were
the
terrible.
slap also overshadowed,
The hosts were terrible.
it was the fact that these hosts were terrible. Amy Schumer, Wanda Sykes, and Regina Hall were awful.
Yeah.
Just terrible. Made political jokes that didn't need to be there. You knew, it's like, we already know your politics. This isn't funny.
Regina Hall was groping men, right? It's like
Yeah,
it's
that
like
bothered me because I'm like, okay, we're sitting here getting upset over Will Smith's wife. What about Josh Brolin's wife?
Yeah.
Why wasn't she storming the
You're
stage?
fondling
saying,
him right on
Get your hands
stage."
off my man.
Yeah.
Like, come on. If they can maintain their composure
Well,
and
if-
go along with
if-
the joke, then
If it had been reversed, if
It's
a
just
male
a double
actor was
standard.
groping
Right,
women,
exactly.
they would have been like,
It'd been
well,
a
that's
Me Too moment.
sexist.
Yeah.
And it's
Right.
like, it was kind of weird. It's like, here she is pulling all these men up on stage making sex jokes. And then
Well,
she
honestly,
starts
it would have been better
groping
if
Josh
Brolin had done just simple hashtag him too. Like, that would have been a way to destroy it right there.
Yeah.
But again, yeah, their jokes were very terrible, but one they made was that fact that, they were like, yeah, even Hollywood doesn't know how to not nominate something nobody watched. Or, they don't read critical reviews, and that was towards
the
Don't Look Up.
Yeah.
But I was surprised by Dune as well, winning a lot of the technical categories. I thought the technical categories were the one area, for one, that they all taped and ended up showing throughout the night. That played off terribly.
it was awful.
But that was the one area of the show where there was the most competition.
Mm-hmm.
When we got into the bigger, awards, the above the line, so to speak, of the actor
They
and
became
actress,
more predictable,
Yeah.
stereotypical.
and I think they have in the last few years, because they really have fallen in line with the BAFTAs or the SAG Awards, the guilds that vote for their favorite, and it's like, okay, well, this is the way the Academy's going to
all of the acting winners except for best female actress or best female actress. I hope. Well, we have to make that distinction now, I guess. but yeah, so all of the acting awards except for best actress were exactly the same winners as the SAG, and the only reason actress was different is because it didn't have the same nominee. didn't have the same nominees. Like there were some different nominees, and one of the people that were nominated for the SAGs that wasn't nominated for Best Actress at the Oscars won. But yeah, Will Smith, Ariana DeBose, and Troy Kotsur all won at the SAGs, and I am happy for Troy Kotsur. He deserved it. He was really good. That was the one win I was like, I bet I took a gamble on that because I didn't actually think he would, but I still chose him because he won the SAG, and that paid off for me. I still didn't win. Sean did, but hey.
Neil, what about you? You were here watching with us, partaking in all the joy and
Joy.
Well, I mean, I guess I was most surprised by the fact that I actually saw all of the movies in one category. And
Which one was that?
I
The
think it was
visual
visual
effects.
effects.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I've actually seen all these. Great. But at that point, it's like, they're all impressive. Like for the layman, like it doesn't mean that much. And I think the Oscars as a whole, it was very clear. I mean, they opened up with that random Beyonce video.
Be Alive.
That was one of the nominees for Best Original Song, so it wasn't that random. It was just weird how they handled it.
That was
but-
from King Richard, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I was just like, I get that they do that,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I'm like, it just started this trend of we're just going to get a bunch of really famous people in here.
Yep.
We're just going to throw spaghetti at the wall, and hopefully everyone likes it.
I've used that analogy a few times in Hollywood. They just throw crap at the wall, and whatever sticks, they're like, there we go.
Well, and it was clear from the outset, like you said, Neil. It's like not only was the Beyonce like a grab for get the young gen in here, they'll watch.
Everything
But then it
was.
was like now we're actually gonna show a run through of all the guest speakers and like even
Every single
one. And I'm like, when you had Tony Hawk and Shaun White,
Yeah.
and I don't even know who the other guy was, but you have them up there presenting
don't
not
either.
even an award. It was presenting the 60th anniversary of 007, and it's like.
It was so random. Yeah.
The way they worked in, they had to jump through so
It's
many
like we were
hoops to get it to
innovators
be
in
relevant.
our field, and James Bond's always been an innovative franchise. And I'm like, wow, it's like you tried real hard for that one, didn't you?
We like skateboards.
Yeah, it was bad, but yeah, I agree. It was like everything. Even the I told Brandon the best original song performances. They performed 5 songs, but only 4 of them were actually nominated. The Van Morrison song didn't get performed live. Instead, they performed "We Don't Talk About Bruno," and they butchered it
Yeah.
and changed the lyrics.
That
to
was weird.
they brought in
added
Cardi
the
B.
hip-hop stuff
Yeah,
to it.
Yeah.
it was terrible, and I was
weird.
like, "What is this?" So it's like we're gonna attract viewers by playing the most popular song of the year, but we're gonna ruin it.
It's so funny how hard they try to stay relevant and they continue to push themselves into irrelevancy. And even us as fans of movie, I mean, there were at least 3 moments there, whether it was a commercial or the 007
That
I
was
loved.
good, and the Godfather stuff for
But
its
the
60th anniversary.
no, but I didn't like the Godfather stuff.
No, because the
Because
music
they
played
added
was
a
terrible.
they just and it was
Yeah.
so overlooked.
They played like a modern hip hop song, and I was
And,
like,
they,
"This is
and,
not
and it was
Godfather."
way shorter than the Bond stuff. It's like the Bond stuff. We even while we were watching, we were like, "This is I want to go home and watch all
yeah,
of
I
Bond."
wanted
now.
to go watch. Yeah,
But it's like other than that, there was one other moment because it definitely wasn't the In Memoriam. But it's like every year we cherish the moments where they actually celebrate film.
Yes.
And they have these glimmers of hope of like, oh, they do remember why we're watching.
Well, the Oscar Museum could have been cool, but Wanda
That was it.
She kept
Yep.
making all these woke jokes while they're walking through, and I was like,
Terrible.
"Well, this isn't cool anymore.
Yeah,
I want to
sell
see
that.
I want to see the actual like memorabilia and the
Well, and the
historic
parts
pieces.
that she was making jokes on were the things that most of film lovers would care to see, and she was knocking it off like, "Oh, this is just a sleight of hand. Like I can joke about this because nobody cares about this." And I'm like, no, actually, we were all talking about the props that were behind the glass cases that we'd want to see, and all you were caring about was, "Oh, I'm gonna put my name on a sticky note and say I donated." Funny, and it's like, what the hell is this? What is this? It's stupid. Just so many wasted
There were
moments.
sweet moments. I know a lot of people online after the fact were really fond of the Lady Gaga moment
Yeah.
where she told Liza Minnelli, "I got you," and that was really sweet. But
Yep.
again, it was overshadowed
Yep.
by what had happened.
Coda winning Best
Yeah,
Picture.
completely overshadowed.
We talked about it last week on our pick show. I know, Sean, it wasn't your pick. However, for us, that was the one I picked, hoping to win because of all the nominees. Yeah, there was such a field of just lackluster films for Best Picture.
Yeah.
And that was the standout, not because it did anything new, it didn't reinvent the wheel, but it was something I could say, okay, it's not only worth watching again, but it's a movie that I do think you could revisit and understand why it won. And it also it just wasn't woke. I mean, like so many other things, it's like it didn't have any agenda.
I liked it. I liked
that was one of the
Belfast.
reason that I
Yeah.
wanted Belfast was because
True, that would have been
it
another one.
lacked the political,
And he did win
substitute.
best original screenplay, which
Yeah.
we didn't expect, but I'm glad. I mean,
Same, yeah, I'm glad. I think he was kind of shocked too. I don't think Kenneth Branagh didn't think he was going to show up with some,
I don't think
film
Kenneth
about
Branagh
his
expected to
homeland.
win anything.
No.
Yeah.
But,
that's who I wanted to win Best Director because I didn't want Jane Campion, but
Yeah, that was another one.
We all
We knew it
called
was
that one.
coming.
Yeah.
But that was one that I also wasn't happy with. And of course, again, I don't know how many speeches they got up there to win, to accept their award. And this year the trend was we're going to start out with what, we're going to thank our agents and the people in the crew and the director and all these people on the film set.
they actually started.
by
good.
the way, then we're going to launch into our virtue signaling.
Yeah.
Now we're going to launch into our cause.
There were a few that I thought most of the technical categories generally are, but most of those speeches were genuine and I liked it. The woman who won for the costuming for Cruella,
Yes.
I thought she was a little eccentric, but she had a very genuine speech and I appreciated that.
Yeah. You're right.
Troy Coates,er I thought was really like that was really good. And again, like you were just saying, I think Jessica Chastain, when she first started, I was like, oh, this is a very nice speech. But then she started going off into some other crap that wasn't. So
I really like the guy who like the music was playing. Who's like, I'm not done.
Yeah.
That was for
that was awesome.
That was for
Yeah.
Drive My Car, wasn't it? Or
I
no,
think
it was for best foreign.
I think that's right.
Well, that was Drive My Car.
I think it
that's
was
what-
Drive My
Well,
Car.
here's the thing. You know what? I applaud him because the Oscars are supposed to be about these people, and yes, they
Yes.
shouldn't stand up there and just prattle on forever. But sometimes they cut them off to give time for the stupidest stuff, like Amy Schumer
Well, and
coming
again-
down in
Yeah.
Spider-Man costume. It's like I don't care about that. Let this man talk.
Well, one of the things I saw on Twitter was somebody showed that last year, when the technical categories were a part of the show and a lot of the stuff was still there, it was 3 hours and 19 minutes. And they said this year they took all the technical stuff out, pre-recorded it, and then they removed a bunch of things from it to try to make it shorter, and it was 3 hours and 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So it was actually longer than last year.
Well, part of
with
that
all
is-
of the bloat taken out.
But even-
that's because they gave these people so
No,
long.
it was because of the Will Smith smack moment, and then they
Well,
gave him 6 minutes to just sit up there and
yes,
cry.
Yeah.
That's really what it was.
Yeah.
It's like, why do you think Jada don't think you're a man?
what God put me here to do. I'm gonna protect my
Thank
family.
goodness he's not here. He'd slap you for that.
Protect my family just like King Richard.
That's another thing. That's
tell you
such
to
a
slap
sign
nobody.
of disrespect. You don't even full on punch the dude. You slap him.
That's what I
It's just like, man, that's
Men punch each other.
Yep.
You slap a
That's probably
woman.
what she was thinking. She was like, he got back
Just
to his,
kidding.
he got back to the seat. He's like, "Did I do good, Jada? No, you used an open hand. You ain't no real man."
But overall, again, even for that, apart from that moment, terrible show.
Terrible.
It really wasn't worth watching up even to the moment that happened. It really was. That was the only thing that makes this show and this year worth talking about. And unfortunately, we would probably be spouting off about Coda and how monumental it is. However, it's like, hey, it happened.
Yeah.
That's all you can say
People are
about
saying
it.
like this was the most like outlandish thing that happened since the La La Land thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
And
no
that's-
doubt. By far.
But it's like, okay, so the only thing that makes the Oscars good is the crazy crap that happened.
Yeah.
That's the only time people talk about it now.
Yeah.
Nobody actually watches. Nobody actually saw him slap Chris Rock live. They just saw it after the
Well,
fact. It was
and
like, this is...
to kind of go back to what you brought up about the technical categories. It's like you're starting to see just an even greater divide, and I think you've seen this over the course of the last several years with Hollywood in general, of the people who truly are the ones that make these movies happen, and not the few at the top that are the big names that draw in such audiences. But even then, they make up so little with regards to what are the crew that are the normal 9-to-5ers, the ones. And when I say 9-to-5ers, I say that lightly because I know they don't
they're
work
working-
normal
yeah,
hours.
they're working longer than 8 hours.
But they're the ones that are working a full day of production, and then they're going home to their families, and they actually have a family and a home life outside of the movie business. Yeah, they still probably love and breathe that life, but it's not, oh, I'm going to go jump on my Twitter or Instagram and get a couple million likes for this video I'm about to post to promote my new movie, and ultimately I'm the celebrity that gets the spotlight. Yeah. No, that's why I think you see the genuine nature out of these people who are like, I get to wake up and truly do what I love every single day of my life. And that's a blessing.
Well, a lot of
and
these-
those are the ones that you take heart to. Those are the ones you listen to their
these
speeches.
movies can't exist without those people. Dune won all these technical awards. It wouldn't be the movie it is without everybody that
Got
that
six Oscars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't have got those 6 Oscars without the people that
No doubt.
contributed. Cruella, that movie based in fashion would not be what it is without the technical crew.
Yep.
There's so many of those movies without these people.
And granted, I know I'm knocking on the people who did speak. I know there's a lot of people who are involved in these films that do know that.
Yeah.
And I really do think Dune, it was a labor of love for the director, for Denis Villeneuve, and I think, which I think we've been saying his name wrong this whole time. It's like Denis Villeneuve or something. It's Denis something. I swear, I've heard somebody say this.
Yeah,
That is weird.
it's
It's a
not
foreign-
Villeneuve. It's
No.
not.
Oh,
but,
wow.
I'd
It's
have to look at it.
Denis Villeneuve or something.
Well,
we're
it's
terrible.
okay.
Wow.
Sometimes
We're
I'll
just
Google it.
doing
I'll
a
Google
Kentucky
it.
old
It
version.
looks like
of
Villeneuve, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, of course, but it's foreign.
I know.
so.
French
Well-
is weird. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, see, I didn't know he was French. Now that makes more sense. I thought he was Hispanic. I've never
We've
seen.
just been bastardizing
No,
it.
I thought he was Hispanic based on the last name. I didn't. I'm not actually. I don't
Look.
know what the guy looks like.
If you say Villeneuve, then yeah, it's Spanish.
Yeah, it sounds.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, that sounds
But if
Spanish.
you
for
say it
sure.
the right way, it's French.
So that's why I'm like, okay, I thought it was Villeneuve, but it's like, no, there's my ignorance.
It's like
But no,
Gal
yeah,
Gadot.
Yeah.
Gadot.
Gal Gadot.
That's Gadot. That's right.
That's the Texas version.
Gal Gadot.
I like that Gal Gadot.
Hey, Wonder Woman.
Hey, that gal got it.
Sorry. No, that was good.
That was Texas.
That was good. That was good.
All right. Oh, go ahead. Do you have one final thought on the Oscars winners?
I
losers?
did, but now it's escaped me. It was just
I'm
something to do with the
sorry. It was
technical
overshadowed
Yeah, no, yeah, but no, it's fine. It's just I think something to go along with the technical categories, and it is sad that because even the editing. Oh, I remember now. It was Hans Zimmer because he didn't even show up to accept his award, and I don't blame him because if you're gonna cut these technical awards
You have
and
to
they don't
have-
get to actually speak. Then, granted, I mean, he didn't know for sure if he'd win or not, but I don't blame him for being like, well, why even go if I'm not even going to be able to go up there live
That's right.
and speak? So
That's right.
you
If you're
know.
not really going to truly, and I do think the people who have the bigger names like Spielberg and a few others who came out before the ceremony and were like, it's not right. These people are the reasons why we have the movies we do.
And
You can't do it with just
this
the
was
fresh faces that
a little bit
everybody
of
knows.
a I won't say a passion project, but he's a huge fan of the book, and because I had mentioned before he works with Christopher Nolan a lot, and Christopher Nolan approached him to do the soundtrack for Tenet, and he turned him down specifically so he could do Dune because he loved the book and wanted to do the music for Dune. So it's like this is something he actually there's a project he wanted to do and was excited about. So
All right, guys, let's move on to finally our relationships topic. Let's roll that open.
Let me tell you about the birds and the bees and the flowers and the trees and the moon up above. And they call love.
It's been a while. It's been a while. I haven't been able to do that. I really just
there's
want to
nothing
play.
loving on here. I can't pick any. There's like no like.
I'm mad as hell. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna take
That
this
was too
anymore.
long. Like, I would do it as a joke, but it's too long.
You play it as a joke like that.
I
all the
do
time,
though,
too.
but sometimes it's just like if it was faster, I would hit it more often. I'm being honest.
Speed it up.
You know?
You can't handle the truth.
that doesn't. No.
You can't handle the truth that I'm telling you right now.
I was inspired by this week's topic because of Nino,
Nino.
our good pal Nino, who came into town.
Nino.
So I wanted to throw out there.
Came down south.
He came down south, the northernmost southern Mason Dixon.
Then he poured it out.
Got that country grandma.
Poured one out. Yeah.
Answer.
So let's talk about
He went down.
how do we handle long distance, dealing with long distance in our relationships.
Not well.
I was gonna say,
Oh wow.
talking about nights and
I
weekends.
just,
or what we talking
you
about?
know,
Yeah, I mean my minutes go up and then I can't talk anymore.
when
It's
Neil
terrible.
when Neil's in Boston, I just pretend he doesn't exist anymore because if he can't be near me, he doesn't exist.
You might as well because I never
dead.
text. I'm the worst texter.
That's not true. I mean, here's the thing.
You are, but Megan makes up for it.
That oh my god.
Here's the thing, though.
Yeah.
I love our texts because I know I don't have to be pressured to respond right away. Like, I'll text Neil something, and then 2 weeks later he'll respond, and I'll be like, well, if I respond in a few days, that'll be okay.
Yep. Yeah. It will be.
No, that's true.
It will be,
That
yeah.
actually is a stress relief.
Great,
That's a great
great,
stress relief.
great.
You don't have to
Silver
worry
lining.
about it.
I think if it was something like more like because you are far away, it's not like I'm like, oh my gosh, Neil, you need to hurry up and get over here, like something's going wrong. Like I can't do that. So most of the text is just like,
I gotta move this couch,
It's like,
Neil. Please.
Well, like recently, most of our texts have been about Naruto because we're both fans, and I started watching it. So it's like something like that. It's like if you don't respond for like a couple days, it's not like a life or death. It's like, dang it, Neil, I need to tell you about this moment in the show. Like, you know.
I mean, it's funny because I don't know. I think it's different how to me it's always about life moments too.
Oh,
it's hard when my gosh you do
Life
this every
moments.
time.
I just felt like it was getting serious for a minute.
It is. It's gonna get real
okay.
serious.
Trying to.
I was trying,
I
but
know I like to ruin the moment.
he always does. That's what he's good for. Sometimes I wish you were long distance.
I'm as bad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore.
There you go. You happy now? I used it.
I'm very happy.
Go ahead.
No, I honestly I don't even I wasn't gonna get that
You
serious.
get overshadowed.
No, it's like to me, long distances it's tricky because I think part of it has to do with the relationship itself, and the other aspect of it has to do with where you're at in your life. And it's like obviously, if the relationship is important enough, you're gonna go through whatever hoops you need to make sure it works out. And it does have to be, I think, shared on both sides.
I could throw a Will Smith joke in there about that.
Oh wow.
What?
I could. You said about like doing whatever it can to make sure your relationship works out. So
Well,
Will
I mean,
Smith was doing whatever he could to make sure his relationship.
sometimes you gotta have
worked
open
out.
marriages.
Yeah.
You know, that's just how it works.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I think that's one aspect of it because if both are not reciprocating, then ultimately you have a one-sided relationship. And honestly, I would not to go back to Will Smith, I would argue that that's one-sided.
You're kind of. I feel like you're just talking right about it right now.
But no, I also think too that when you move into different aspects of your life, and regardless of how important those relationships are, I mean, it's like Neil's talking about not texting us back right away. But for one, I think that's a privilege that we all take for granted nowadays anyway, because we all walk around with phones in our pocket and we all think that somehow we are obligated to have the luxury of people respond to us directly, because I texted you in this moment and I deserve your attention. And it's like, no, that used to not be the case. It's like, I've heard the argument and, people joking around about it. It's like, no wonder my mom and dad stayed married for so long, because they actually got 8 hours away from each other and they didn't talk until one got home, and it's like, I think it's funny because you can wear out the friendship or the relationship when you depend on it too much to an exhausting extent. So the distance could somewhat be helpful, but then also...
So, Neil, you moving away helped our
That's
relationship.
not... I wasn't even speaking on...
Move farther away. That's what Keith is telling me right now.
We were tired of you and needed a break, so
Yeah,
go back to Boston.
No, and honestly, I mean, I was just here. Well, I guess I wasn't just here. It was
December.
like 3 months ago.
Yeah.
Hey, that's
So I mean, I'm
know.
glad that I can come back as often as I can.
Yeah.
And that definitely helps. But yeah, texting in the interim is.
But see, okay, on your end, though, like, for instance, your family and friends are down here. I mean, you've got friends up in Boston as well.
You
And
have
now-
nobody up
And now
there.
you've got
But
in-laws
you all are my
as well.
oldest, like, best friends, so it's like it's just weird.
Heartwarming.
Yeah.
I need a Full House moment button on there.
a couple of y'all are my oldest best friends. I won't say who.
I already know. I'm not one of them.
No, you've been mean to me all night.
Damn
all
right.
night.
Get out of my life.
I mean, I say inappropriate things and you take offense to them. I'm not sure where this relationship's going
abusive.
anymore.
We need some distance.
I'm moving to Boston.
But no, I was going to ask Neil, though. So on your side of things, because you're usually coming down here more often than obviously we go up there.
Yeah, it's
I
a
mean,
one-sided.
That's what I
that's-
signed up
relationship.
for.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. Do
Yeah,
you see
more of
that
us
as
are
a
down
slight, or do you see that as, okay, well, that's part of making the relationship work simply because of the dynamic of you being up there and so many of us being down here? And you just, because some people, I mean, that's how it was when I was younger, and it was like I ran around with, my buddy Logan, and most of the friends were over in another neighborhood, and I always rode over there. They hardly ever came to my house, but I didn't think nothing of it, just because it was like, well, I don't expect 5 of them to come to my house when only one of me has to go over there.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if that was something you...
No. I mean, when I moved, I knew it was going to be. It sounds bad. Like it was going to be on me to come down here more often than
He was
not.
ready to sever ties.
I swear, you can't
I'm like-
talk with this guy in the room. He just wants to go bleak on everything.
No, I love when people come up. Like that's amazing. When you all came up, that was great. Like we had just moved into that apartment like a week before or something. I thought
that's
Megan was
crazy.
going to kill me. But I was like,
Already
I'm just
inviting
happy
people?
they're here. Please let them come.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's great. But
I mean, you could have told us a better date would have worked. Like, we didn't have to come that week.
don't.
Yeah.
I hope Megan's not listening.
Come anytime.
Yeah.
No, but I just like, I mean, I kind of knew moving up here, like I'm gonna have to come down, and I've got 2 nephews that I want to see as much as I can, and I mean, it doesn't matter how well I text or video chat or
Yeah,
whatever. They're
yeah.
just gonna be like, "Hi, Nino," and then they got
It's-
other things to do.
Right,
Pokemon or
right.
whatever.
They're distracted. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just completely like with us. We're adults, so it's like we obviously understand they can handle things better, but it is harder with younger kids that are family because they may not fully understand. It's like, well, why can't I see
Yeah.
as much as I see? So I get that. That would be hard.
Because they won't sit in a van for 15 hours. That's why.
It's like if you would shut up and sit still, we could go see Nina. No.
And who knows? Here's the thing, though: as they get older, they'll have that opportunity, and you'll
Yeah.
also. I mean, you want to have that relationship with them before then, but it's like those things become a lot more convenient as you go on, and that's kind of what I was saying about the whole. As time goes on, and you come into a different part of your life. I mean, it's nice to know. For one, I think for me, it was always you being up there, and even before you met Megan, or even while you all were dating, it was just kind of, well, is he going to establish, a homestead up there? Is he going to have a place where he feels comfortable and is not always missing us, or vice versa? And it's like it's a definite balance you have to strike, in making those relationships work. And only as like whether you have kids, and then when of course having your nieces and nephews down here, it makes it harder for you all to have to make trips like that and plan. When you're going to go up there to Boston. And
I think for me, because it is weird, because I could be an emotional guy. I'll admit that. And I mean, I do like.
we've only seen throughout this whole podcast.
I've not been, emotional. I've just been an a-hole. There's just difference. But yeah, there's things where like I get anxiety or panic attacks about certain things where I'm like, oh God, like. And it was weird with Neil because I don't think there was ever like. Obviously, I knew I was going to miss you. I was very sad you were moving away, but there was never a moment I think like I was terrified or like, well, that's it. That's the end. Like
Right.
I was just like. It's like, well, this sucks, but hey, I get to visit Boston. So, and
Yeah.
it is weird because
Honestly, now every time there's a Boston reference, and whether I watch it
Oh,
or
you
I
think
see it
of
in the
Neil.
news, I'm
Yeah.
like, hey, and Neil's up there.
And I think I would feel the same way about like any of you guys because I do think it is one of those things where I'm confident enough that our friendship and we've known each other for so long at this point, it's kind of like you can move to freaking Europe and I'm like, well, I guess I'm just going to come chase you down at some point. Probably
Yeah.
not as often as Neil, which has still only been twice. So
Yeah.
you're really not going to see me much if you go there, but
Sean,
you know.
do you have any words?
I don't.
Nothing to add. What?
How do
I mean,
you handle long distance?
I
Sean?
would. I'll be honest. When Neil moved to Boston, I resented him for moving.
Oh.
So, but that it doesn't. I don't know. I don't feel like it keeps you from being my brother-in-law. So, I
I mean,
know.
it's like water
There's-
under the
I
bridge
can't,
after so much
I can't
time.
get there nearly as often as you can get here.
Yeah.
Because of kids
Yeah.
and because I don't have unlimited PTO like some lucky people in the world and
Cheap
things like that.
shot.
So my wife gets to go to Boston more than I do. She
Yeah.
leaves
Yeah.
me home with 2 kids and goes to Boston because she has that freedom. I wish I had that freedom,
yeah.
but it's just one of those things that we all have to.
Well, you live in Russia
just-
or something?
No. What do you
Just
mean?
kidding. I'm kidding. It was
Wow.
terrible
wow.
dad joke.
You may, yeah, bad. That
You
was
said
bad.
she has
You're talking
that
about me
freedom.
being
I
an
don't.
a-hole.
Oh,
Gosh. Gosh.
It was a bad joke.
I thought I was the jerk of the show.
I was just making a
You
bad
are.
joke.
You still are.
I kind of got over that resentment thing because it's just pointless. And
Yeah.
it's like he's happy, so I'm happy.
Yeah, and that,
And-
my whole thing
Oh, I
was
don't
like
care if you're
I
happy or not. If I'm not happy, then
I moved up
screw
there
you.
and like I knew it was going to be on me to like make the effort to go and all that stuff. And I mean, y'all came up for the wedding and everything else. Like, I get that that's kind of like, well, I have to go. You can't. That's harder
No,
to get out of.
I was happy to. I was
Kinda
blessed and
honored
thankful
that
to be
you had-
invited.
Yeah, because you got
Yeah.
friends up there that you could have definitely chosen over us, and that's
I
why.
didn't have to go. I could have told you no. I'm not going to be. in
But
your
like,
wedding.
it just for me, it's like my entire family is here, like 10 generations back. Like it's all Kentucky, and then I've got a random cousin in Florida and cousin in Chicago. It's just like I don't know how they wound up there, and people look at me and they're like, "How'd you wind up in New England?" And yeah, like, but at the end of the day, it's just I want y'all to take advantage of me being up there. Like, come up and visit. I'm gonna come down as much as I can, and thankfully, it's easy to do right now. And like now that I've got a house and a guest bedroom and all that stuff, I'm trying to make it as easy as possible. It's just like Americans got a one-way direct flight now. That's pretty sweet.
July,
yeah.
we're getting the direct flight to
Direct
Boston.
flight, that'd
Yeah.
be nicer.
Yeah, that'd
Yeah.
be real nice.
I really appreciate that you're trying to make it easier for us to take advantage of you. So,
Yeah.
I love it when people take advantage of me.
We know. No, I will say though, I think that is part of, again, to me, that is the blessing of technology, is that we do have those communication, the way to communicate to bridge that gap until we see each other again. And I am thankful that you take the time to come down here because, I mean, again, it's a blessing that you have the PTO that you do to make the visits that you can and to use that to come down here and see us. And I know, again, it's like I know you want to. But I don't take it lightly that, again, I know it's a hassle and an obligation to have to work out the details, whether it's with you or your schedule now that you're married. And it's like you've got to make dedicated time to say, I'm going to carve this out to go down there and make it a point to spend time with these people. And I just don't want you to think that's kind of overlooked on us just because you live up in Boston. And it is something that I value as part of the friendship that you still keep in touch. And because that's the thing for me, I may not see or receive a text, but for every text that I don't receive from you in the timely manner, whatever that means, it's like, I to me though, you come down here again more often than we go up there, and that balances it out.
Yeah.
It's like we know what you're up to. We again. Staying in constant communication with Megan, it's like she's always giving us insight into, what the goings on of the Singletons.
She's on top of everything. It's unbelievable. So, no, and I mean, I'm here this week just because, Dad's retiring and my last trip got cut short. So
That's weird. My mom's retiring this week.
really,
Her last
didn't
day
know
is Friday.
Oh, wow.
Or wait, Friday's April 1st. I think her last day's Thursday.
oh wow.
Mom, if you're out there,
you don't
listening,
know?
I know
He doesn't talk to his mother.
it's weird. JCPS is odd. I think you either have to go on the last day or I think it's the first or the last of the month. I can't remember. So I'm pretty sure
I guess
it's
kind
the
of
first.
depending on how I guess they do their payrolls and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
just it's like my mom's retiring. So hey,
they
congrats
could be
to
retirement buddies.
Rick Singleton and Evelyn Davidson.
Not a big April Fool's joke. You sure?
Actually, it would be funny if she walked in and said, "April Fools, I'm staying."
I'm still working.
And then they're like, "We're not paying you anymore."
Actually, no, that's what it would be. She'd be like, "April Fools, I'm still working,"
Pay
and
'em
then they'd
enough
be
now.
like, "What?" And she's like, "No, I'm kidding. Heck no, I ain't staying here." That was a good conversation. I enjoyed that. Anything else to add, Neil?
Love you guys. Thanks for having me.
I'm glad you're here. I'm
have-
glad you get to join when you do
I
come
have
down.
something
I
to
enjoy
add.
you on the
Yeah.
show. I really do.
There was one way we used to keep in touch, and we haven't done it in a long time. But I do miss some of the Destiny sessions we all had online
yeah.
together. Those were
That was another way.
there were some
Yeah.
fun nights had.
True.
Yeah.
Online
Yeah.
playing. I mean,
still,
even
I
Warzone.
still have resentment about that.
About-
I have not let that go.
That we don't play.
We
or-
don't raid
Oh,
anymore
oh.
or play anymore. Yeah.
Sean's all about just straight resentment. I know that Edie she darted out.
They updated GTA. You can go around
right.
shooting whores and
That's right.
I don't know what else to do with GTA.
See how many we can run over.
Stealing
Hey,
cars.
we had Warzone. Warzone was
Hookers,
fun too.
Yeah.
Warzone's fun.
That was good.
I have to
Good times.
re-download it. I deleted it again.
You did.
Yeah.
I've still got mine. I downloaded
Actually,
it
I have
thinking
enough-
we would play.
I have enough space for it to be put back on there, so I'm going to. But I was deleting
You
a bunch
heard
of
it
stuff.
right here.
So
It has to happen now.
All right.
It's a promise.
Neil, when you get back home, you better load up
I'm-
Destiny, Modern Warfare, and GTA, and whatever
Right.
else we
If
got.
one of you all says, "Hey, we getting on tonight," I'm like way more likely to do it than if I have to like start it. You know what I mean?
No, true.
Oh.
Yeah,
Now, see,
so
my
that's-
problem is I'll text you, hey, you want to play PlayStation night, and then 2 days later, you'll respond.
No, yeah, you got to get to me 2 days ahead of time. Be like,
Okay.
hey,
You
Wednesday.
want to play Wednesday
Actually,
night?
the biggest problem is that Megan, her commute got a lot shorter. So she goes to bed later. Before she go to bed at like
Oh,
9:30,
blame it on
and it's
your
like,
wife.
boom.
Yeah.
No, this
I got 2
that
hours every
that
night.
used to be you were very serious of like you made sure she got in bed.
Yeah, you put her
because
in-
you
Oh,
knew
yeah.
she'd be
said,
tired the
"Megan,
next day.
Go to bed
Exactly.
right
She's-
now.
I know
she's
when they
kinda
have
like a-
kids, their kids are going to go to bed on time because he practiced on her.
Oh, yeah.
Like he knows.
I have to. She's
It's
like
bedtime.
a kid. She's like, I don't want to go to bed. I'm
You're like, no,
I don't
honey,
care.
You need to go to bed.
Sunday
You're
night,
gonna
she's
be
like, I've
cranky
got the
tomorrow."
Sunday scaries. I'm like, you're going to be tired tomorrow. Go to bed.
The Sunday
scaries?
scaries.
Sunday scaries.
Going into the work day, the work week.
Yeah. It's like she's had a weekend. She got to sleep in. Now she's like, I got to get up at 6:30 or
I can't wait to
whatever.
throw that out in a
Wow.
text.
Yeah,
Be
the
like,
Sunday
I hope you
scaries.
get some sleep. Worried about your Sunday scaries.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I've gotten plenty of practice on that. It's
All right.
Well, you need to
Unreal.
tell her she needs to go back to bed earlier so you can play PlayStation.
I have been telling her she needs to go to bed a little bit earlier, but it's just like she comes home every day. She's like, I'm just exhausted, and I'm like, maybe you should go to bed earlier. I don't know. I'm sure I
Doesn't
do
work.
annoying things too, but
Hey, it just it
I
gets
sleep like a
better and
baby,
better.
so she's got resentment for me for that because I sleep. I'm just like I'm out like a light, and then
she's just a light sleeper. She can't stay asleep.
yeah, she always has been, but she'll text me the next day and be like, "You were snoring again last night." That's it, and I'm like, "Okay, I can't help you. I don't know. We play white noise, yeah."
No,
It's
sorry,
like
my problem
Sorry,
is
Megan.
my wife wakes me up when
Really?
I'm snoring, and she's like, "Hey, you're snoring," and I'm like, "Well, I'm not anymore. I'm not gonna fall back asleep either. Thanks."
Yeah, see,
you're
I don't
like,
have that. Like
no,
she
once
kicks
I'm
me or
up,
something,
I'm up.
and then
like I
yeah,
can't
oh.
go back to sleep.
You need to get one of them CPAPs, man.
a CPAP?
CPAP machine.
That doesn't keep you from snoring.
Yeah, no, it does because it keeps your airways open. You put it, but it's ridiculous. With this huge
The
mask
machine
and-
is louder
it's-
than me snoring.
It's
No,
kinda
not
if
like
I lay
white
on
noise.
my side, I don't snore,
That's
so
what-
it's not like
It's
I'm
kind of like white
Not anymore,
noise.
and he may not have sleep apnea. Just
Yeah, I
because
don't
you
have sleep
just because you
apnea.
snore doesn't automatically. So they
No,
won't
I mean
give
you
you
gotta
one.
get it tested.
Yeah.
but I'm 90%.
Gotta get it tested.
90% of the time, it's probably you could have it a CPAP and you're fine. You'll get you'll
'Cause
you'll
90% of the time, I need a CPAP.
That's right.
Is what you're saying.
And then the other 10%,
When like 10% of people have one.
you're just gonna have to wake
Hey,
up when
look,
she wakes
look,
up.
look!
People
you got
snore
the
and
radio,
don't- and aren't allowed to have CPAPs.
The next thing is a CPAP machine. You're slowly becoming your father-in-law. That's what's
Wow.
happening.
That's true.
It's sad, but that's
Not all of
as
them
we
are
age.
loud though. I know Rick's is very loud, but not all of
Rick's
them are that.
is
loud.
like-
Ty has one that
like
like
somebody
you
flushing the
like,
toilet over
The whole
and over
time we
again.
were in Boston at the Airbnb, you didn't hear Ty's at all, at all. So and my dad's is quiet.
Wait, did he have that in Boston?
he has his little travel. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. They're not.
I
all
mean,
loud.
I couldn't get
Yeah.
to sleep in there anyway. It was hotter than hell in
Yeah.
there. I mean, I
You
couldn't have
didn't
slept
hear
anyway.
the CPAP, did you?
I couldn't think. I was sweating.
I put my AirPods in and was listening to music, which I mean, not while Ty was there, just trying to distract
I think
myself.
that demon
Yeah.
lady is still on
And-
Airbnb.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
God.
That demon woman is still on there.
I did. I tried to make myself
You
fall
were
asleep
worried
to
about what's
music.
going to walk in on you in the middle of the night.
Oh, I came home with the damn ear infection.
Oh, we locked the.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the hell
Some
she.
kid in a wheelchair is
Say,
going to roll
we
in
kept
on you.
we kept our bedroom door locked when we were in there. We're like,
Oh.
hey, nobody coming in here. Like we
They
didn't
got
know.
the,
she-
they got a key.
I don't
we
think it
told
had a
her
key on
we
the
were
other side.
how bad the hot was, like how bad the heat was, and she was just like, "I can go in there and move your all stuff to our room," and we were like, I said, "Do not touch our stuff."
Yeah.
I said, "We'll be home late.
She's
Do
like,
not
we can't
touch our
turn
stuff."
the AC on because people are trying to poison us, but we can move you to our room because the AC vent's right above our bed. It's like, well, then if you're not going to turn the AC on, what does it matter?
Yeah.
Like I don't.
I'm telling you, dude. Woman was freaking
Maybe she was
nuts.
like, it's okay if you all get poisoned. You will turn it on while you all sleep in the hair.
I would have been like, "That's fine, poison me.
Yeah.
It's better than this."
At least I'll sleep.
Alrighty, guys. I think that's going to do it for this episode of the Red Moon Podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much for tuning in tonight. We appreciate all of our viewers, all of our feedback. We thank y'all for giving us your opinions on the slap. If you have any more opinions, feel free. Write us. You all know it.
RMPodcast at Red Moon Productions.
Oh, she came, jumped up on you
Wow.
right there.
She was ready.
Hold on.
I don't want it.
I don't have the email ready.
want it.
You gotta
Oh, do you want me to do it again?
do it one more time.
RMPodcast at redmoonproductions.com.
That's going to do it for this episode. Thank you all so much. And obviously, you can join us on Facebook Live and YouTube Live every single week at 9 p.m. on Tuesday nights. Check out all of our socials right there at the bottom of the screen. Like, share, subscribe. Oh, Edie. Oh, she just loves them. It's the end of the show. She always gets like this. Oh. Don't let her take your eye out.
I got boxed.
Alrighty, that's going to do it for this episode. Until next time, I'm one of your hosts, Brandon Davidson, alongside our normal new host,
Sean Sebastian.
and
Me.
And
our final guest host.
And Lenino and Edie.
Final?
I don't know why I said final. I don't know why I said that.
Neil, you're the last.
And the first.
We hope you enjoyed this week's episode. For more reviews, previous podcast shows, and everything Red Moon, visit our website, redmoonproductions.com. You can also like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter by searching for Red Moon Productions, LLC. We'll see you at the movies.